Hello my beautiful friend and welcome back to another daily video. Today we're gonna talk about Square. Yeah, it's been a while since we talked about Square Enix. So let's dive in. As always, you will find every article linked in the description box down below. Both of them are from VGC, the Video Game Chronicles, and Square Enix announces more layoffs as part of US and Europe reconstruction. Dun dun dun! So, the thing here is, I don't want people to lose their jobs. However, in this case, this might be good. This might be a healing step for Square. Nearly all areas of Square Enix's Western business affected by latest cuts, it tells staff. Square Enix announced layoffs across, oh yeah, we already had that basically, of its Western businesses on all hands meeting on Thursday. VGC understands. Not only you, me as well. In a video call to staff outside of its home country of Japan, including those based in Europe and America, Square Enix president Takashi Kiryu said the company was implementing overseas structural reform to create a more lean and agile business abroad. So there you have it, lean and agile, because the more people there are, the more rigid the whole system becomes. Square Enix will be implementing a fundamental restructuring of the overseas publishing organization, Kiryu said. Details of the restructure will be shared at a later date, staff were told. However, it confirmed roles would be cut and employees left would be required to spend more time working in the office. It's again back to office crap. I mean, there is probably a reason for it here as well, because I had colleagues who really took advantage of their home office time. Yeah. But then again, just because there are some bad apples in the pot, yeah, it sours the whole pot, but it doesn't mean that every apple is bad. Employees affected by the cuts would be informed on Thursday, staff on the video call were told. As is typical for company layoffs, no headcount figures were shared during the call, VGC was told. However, one person affected in Europe said that nearly 140 people were told they were at risk in the London office alone. That includes staff across IT, marketing, publishing, sales, QA, business planning, and more. We're gonna talk about QA in a moment here. Square Enix Europe's entire collective, external studios, development and brand marketing, and Japanese com support teams have been told they're at risk, VGC understands. UK employment law means that affected employees are required to enter a period of consultation before any layoffs are confirmed. Okay, that's at least a little bit of time until you can find, hopefully, another job. Square Enix hopes to make annual cost savings of over 3 billion yen, which is about $20 million. Oh, that is probably the reason why stock went up a little bit. It's the second year Square Enix has made staff cuts across its American and European arms. According to a person on Thursday's call, Kiryu claimed that last year's overseas restructuring hadn't worked. Obviously, VGC has reached out to Square Enix for comment. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Thursday's layoffs announcement arrives on the same day that Square Enix shared its intention to have the... Oh yeah, we already have that article locked and loaded. It's this one here. Oh, sorry. Square Enix says it wants generative AI to be doing 70% of its QA and debugging by the end of 2027. QA, to a certain extent, okay. I haven't read the article as of yet. I was just looking at pictures and how long the article is. But that, in my mind, would not be AI. That would just be using a bot for gameplay QA, where you have to do a thing 1,000 times. Just use a bot, basically. Let's just do it the same thing again and again and again. So you can find, hopefully, a bug, a glitch, or whatever. But just 30% of people left for QA and debugging? That's bad. That is really, really bad. And again, the thing that I just proposed is not AI, that's basically just a bot. You tell it what to do and it just does it for 1,000 times. The publisher is researching game QA automation technology with the University of Tokyo. Square Enix says it wants the majority of its QA and debugging work to be handled by generative AI within the next 2 years. So probably Final Fantasy VII 3 is going to be the last game that's hopefully not being touched too much by AI, but I'm really, really scared for the future of the next games. Following the release of its latest financial results, the publisher posted a progress report on its medium-term business plan, which was originally announced last year under the name Square Enix Reboots and Awakens. Dude, are they going to go the Final Fantasy XIV route? Oh no. A Realm Reborn, basically? As part of this plan, Square Enix says it has launched a partnership with the Matsuo Iwosana Laboratory at the University of Tokyo, which is aimed at improving the efficiency of game development process through AI technologies. If you've been following me for a while, you know what I think about AI. Let's move on. The project, which is titled Joint Development of Game QA Automation Technology Using Generative AI, dude, that is an incredibly long title for just bullshit, is being tackled by a joint research team of more than 10 members. Ooh. Now they feel important. Including researchers from the University of Tokyo and engineers from the Square Enix group. The goal, according to the report, is to automate 70% of QA and debugging tasks in game development by the end of 2027. It says that by using automation technology, Square Enix will aim to improve the efficiency of QA operations and establish a competitive advantage in game development. The only thing I hear is, we don't want to spend money on humans. We don't need to spend money on, not that much money because they still have to pay electricity, on AI. This will be good. AI will be better. This is what I read here. And my cat scratched me. I just see it now because caffeine is kicking in. Damn. It doesn't matter. She's cute. She's allowed. The topic of AI being used for QA roles has been debated for some time now. While those in favor of it argue that QA testing can be a repetitive and boring job, others argue that humans are better at spotting and describing anomalies while testing a game. Yes, however, having a bot doing the same thing again and again is, in my mind, again, not AI, but if a human does it, there will always be slight errors. So the reproducibility is ever so slightly off. However, when a bot does it, it's always the same thing. I have this with gas chromatography. I'm old. I learned to do that with the syringe, putting it into the machine, injecting the substance in the machine so it can evaporate and go through the capillary thingy. I forgot, let's just call it hose. I forgot what it's called in English, doesn't really matter. However, the problem there is human error, because you have to do that incredibly fast. So you have this syringe with about, I don't know, let's just say, I don't want to talk too much about chemistry right now, 0.2 milliliters of substance. So put it in the machine, inject the substance, take out the syringe or you will get pressure loss and heat loss and something, or the substance will heat itself in the syringe and so on, which again is flawed. There are so many things that can go wrong there, and they do go wrong. Of course, this is a very hyperbolic example, but this is an example from my personal experience so that I can talk about that a little bit better. Until automation came in, we have GC towers with basically a syringe. There are washing solutions in there. You just put the substance that you want analyzed in. It, well, washes the syringe, it takes out the substance, and again, it's the same motion. It injects the substance into the machine, the chromatographer, and it's always the same. Always. So it is reproducible what's going to happen in that step. But yeah, moving on. I'm sorry for the small tangent here. The other argument often made is that replacing humans with AI could result in the loss of numerous job opportunities. Definitely, yes. Some see QA roles as potential getaway into higher paid, more creative roles in a company over time. Probably, maybe, I don't know that one. However, again, I say that QA roles are incredibly important, especially for human testing, as again, this is very well said, describing anomalies and spotting anomalies. Wait, who wrote this? Chris Scullion. Thank you for that one. Thank you. Last month, it was reported that Electronic Arts EA staff are finding it a challenge to carry out management's demands that they use AI tools for just about everything, including QA. Yeah, that is not surprising, by the way. Absolutely not surprising. One former Respawn employee who worked in a senior QA role told Business Insider that he believes one of the reasons he was among 100 colleagues laid off this past spring is because AI was reviewing and summarizing feedback from playtesters, a job he usually did. This is terrible. How is an AI supposed to know? And don't come at me with the argument, but it will learn. Yeah, you know who also does? A human. A human also has to learn how to review and summarize. However, the human knows instinctively, usually, what is good for a game, what feels good, what is a really feel good moment, the endorphin kick of, I don't know, a counter in a fighting game, a perfectly executed combo in the fighting game. Oh my god, the amount of fighting games that I've played with my best friends. It is staggering. Just imagine an AI taking our feedback and reviewing it. This is going to be wildly bullshitty. The replacing of staff with AI for QA purposes is something that has been actively pursued by some publishers and developers for a number of years. Back in 2022, Xbox Game Studios had Matt Booty, I still like that name, man, said it was his dream to one day have an army of artificial intelligence QA testers. Dude, are you Skynet? My dream, there's a lot going on with AI and machine learning right now, and people using AI to generate all these images, he said at the time. What I always say when I bump into the AI folks is, help me figure out how to use an AI bot to get a test to test a game. There's so much to unpack here. I'm not going to do that. That would just burst this video out of its seams, because I would love to be able to start up 10,000 instances of a game in the cloud, so there's 10,000 copies of the game running, deploy an AI bot to spend all night testing the game, then in the morning we get a report. Because that would be transformational. Yeah, again, this sounds like Skynet. This is terrible. An army of artificial intelligences. Yeah. Oh no. Please don't. Please don't. No, this sounds terrible. This sounds no, no. I you know, I loved Square Enix games. Again, my chair is Final Fantasy XIV. Dawn Trail killed the game for me. Yeah, I had a big hiatus before that one, but I was like, okay, you know what? I haven't played the latest DLC that much, but Dawn Trail is coming out. I'm going to go into that one. Let's go. Then I saw what's going to happen with it, and I said, you know what? I'm fine. We lost our guild house, we lost everything that was in it, basically. We just don't care anymore. We were a guild that was really into that game, and no one cared anymore. Just imagine that. Yeah, we weren't that many people in there. We were 6 people. Doesn't matter. We spent thousands of hours, hundreds, if not thousands of euros into that game. And they killed it for us. And I'm still buying the merch, by the way. Oh, here you go. Um, I don't like this direction. I have to be honest. The thing here is, they deserved that hit on their stocks. They lost about 66% of it. They went from about 60 euros or something like that to now about 20 euros. That is deserved. Dawn Trail was a disaster. Final Fantasy XIV is the game that kept them afloat. They used the money that came in from Final Fantasy XIV for other projects that flopped. Just let that sink in. They had to use the money of Dawn Trail, or rather from Final Fantasy XIV, for Final Fantasy XIV, or rather other big Final Fantasy games, not only 14. And don't go into mobile game bullshit. Yes, it makes money, but don't take the money out of your other games to do a game that nobody wanted. That is just bullshit. The Chocobo Racing game, holy crap. Then there was another Final Fantasy VII iteration on there, which was also bullshit, which was also canned in 3 or 6 months, whatever it was. It was crap. There's a lot to unpack there, by the way. And I just hope they can recover from this. Because I want more Final Fantasy games. I want more games like Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy 16 is freaking fantastic. My only gripe with that one is the combat system. It's a little bit too skill checky, but that doesn't matter because the story is incredibly freaking fantastic. And it kept me pushing through with the story. My only complaint is that the time jump in between is a little bit too much without showing you what happened. It's just too much tell. That is one of my few criticisms back there. But every character is lovable. The villains are understandable. The enemies are real enemies. There are not, oh, maybe I can like him. I can fix him. No, they are just bastards. And those are characters that you love to hate, by the way. At least for me, I love to hate them. Holy crap, I'm so excited to play Final Fantasy 16 again here on this channel because I haven't played the DLCs. We have to play the DLCs here, by the way, as well. We have to do a full run. But we're going to do an indie game next, which I have to decide on a whim because right now I just woke up. If you cannot tell by my voice, this is my morning voice. I'm getting warm again, but I haven't even finished my first coffee here. Maybe it's going to be Vampire Therapist or Tactical Breach Wizards. Tactical Breach Wizards is a game that I've been glazing for a long time because it's incredibly funny. You know what? I just decided. We're going to play Tactical Breach Wizards today in the stream. And then we're gonna talk more about this topic here. And Games Workshop. There's been the preview yesterday. That was something. It has a lot of issues there. This is also something that we're gonna have a lot of fun with. Please leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section down below. I'm keen to know what you have to say. And while you're here, please remember to do all the things that make the dings. Why? Because that way we can build a bigger community and talk more video game news every day. And by that I of course mean like and subscribe, and if you want you can share this video with your friends, and please turn off YouTube's restricted mode. Otherwise, have a great day my friend, stay fantastic, stay hydrated, and I will see you either later in the stream or tomorrow with the next video. Bye, bye, bye.